Welcome to this edition of the Commissioner's Report, where today we'll be featuring County Commissioner Todd Dantzler, who will be speaking to us about the proposed county budget, and with Commissioner Ed Smith, who will give us a report on our recent efforts to secure a new state veterans nursing home in Polk County. First up is Commissioner Todd Dantzler, Chairman of the Board of County Commissioners. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Harry. It's good to be here.
Thank you, sir, again. Commissioner, you and your colleagues on the board have been working closely with county management and staff to craft a budget for the citizens of Polk County that will not require an ad valorem increase, but at the same time, it's expected to cover the public services that our residents desire. How does this balancing act occur? Well,
Sam, the county manager has proposed a budget for 2014-15 of $1.264 billion. That's billion with a B.
That's a big one.
And it's just a slight increase from this year's budget. The general fund is going to be about $319 million in this proposed budget. Also, the millage rate for the unincorporated area in Polk County is going to be 16.8665 mills. The general fund covers the expenses of the Board of County Commissioners,
yes, sir, the
reserves, the mandates that come down from high and from Tallahassee and Washington, the budget and the sheriff's office, and those of our other constitutional officers. I want to take this moment to thank our constitutional officers for bringing forward a very conservative budget and living within their means. They've done an outstanding job over the last several years. As our budget has been tight, so has theirs. They've all been team players, and all our constitutionals deserve a great gratitude of thanks and everything.
Yes, sir.
The
sheriff's has the biggest
budget,
right?
His budget is larger than the general fund, than what we have to spend as county commissioners. But public safety, fire rescue, those are the two top-rated services that we provide. They're consistently the top-rated services, and they demand the most attention. What's happened as the budget has shrunk because of ad valorem taxes, the sheriff's budget has basically been about the same. It's just his percentage of the budget has gone up because the total dollars coming in have been diminished. It's difficult to balance a budget like this, but we've got an outstanding staff that works year-round on doing that, so we're very lucky.
Well, thank you, Commissioner, for bringing us these important numbers and your insight on the process. Earlier this year, the Board of County Commissioners voted to assess a special millage for a small enclave in northwestern Polk County called Rancho Bonito. What's a Rancho Bonito?
You've never been there, Charlie?
No,
you haven't?
No,
it's
sir.
It's up in the northwest portion of the county. It's almost in the next county. It just about adjoins it. And it's a subdivision of platted lots without interior roads. It's about 906 parcels. They could be anywhere from like a half acre to an acre, and it just has degraded into almost lawlessness at times. People go up and there's mud holes there, they drink, they shoot their guns, there's all sorts of stuff that goes on, and it's really been a bad situation for the law-abiding neighbors. We have proposed, or the county manager has proposed, a 9.2 Rancho Bonito millage rate that will be just for the Rancho Bonito subdivision, and this will raise about $8,050, and that will help go towards additional law enforcement in that area.
Much needed. You and your fellow board members appreciate the hard work and the dedication exhibited by our 1,900 employees of the Board of County Commissioners. Because of the past recessionary economy, merit raises have disappeared, but this year you're considering a 2% cost of living adjustment for the employees. Thank you in advance for that consideration.
What department are you in, Jim? We're very pleased to be able to assist our families with this cost of living adjustment. Everyone has struggled. They have tightened their belt. Everyone's been creative. Everyone's been very patient. So we're happy that if this passes, which I'm quite confident that it will, that there will be a 2% cost of living increase.
Well, thank you very much. You know, our annual budget gets a lot of attention during the summer months, but you'd said a little bit earlier that it's a year-round process. It's about constant process improvement, creating efficiencies, and rewarding outcomes that work to everyone's benefit. What can the public expect going forward with our budget?
Well, Haji, we have hired a guy named Herb Marlowe with Analytica, which is a group that's going to help us with our long-range plan and our strategic business plan for addressing these challenges that are a number of the key areas, such as the Polk County Healthcare Plan, the stormwater control, parks and transportation, fire rescue, environmental lands, and utilities. So there's a lot that's on our table, and they're going to help us with some long-range planning to help address some of these issues.
Okay, great. Well, let's start with environmental lands. This has been a hugely popular initiative of the Board of County Commissioners, and it's appreciated by residents throughout our large and diverse county.
Jim, in 1994, the voters approved a 20-year referendum providing up to 0.2 mils for debt service to purchase environmentally sensitive lands. Some of those include Circle B Bar Reserve, which has been phenomenally successful. It's world-renowned. People come from all over just to participate in it. And that we did that in partnership with the Water Management District. The challenge going forward is going to be to determine what level of service that we're going to be able to provide in the future. And that's the debate that we're going to be having over the coming years. What level of service can we afford, and what can we afford to deliver to the citizens of Polk County?
Yes, sir. And everyone in our service area is concerned about the availability of utilities to maintain a great quality of life. What's going on in this important arena?
In the past, we've had a 5% annual increase or indexing of fees for water, sewer, and reclaimed water. That is going to sunset on October 1st of 2015. Regulatory requirements are being foisted upon us from up high to develop alternative water supply projects that are going to significantly increase the cost of producing potable water. Polk County is working very closely with all the municipalities in the county to try and devise an alternative water use plan that's going to ensure the future water supply for the community and for economic development.
Declines in our fuel tax and property taxes, as well as the moratorium on impact fees, have impacted available revenue for transportation projects. Traffic on our streets and highways obviously is not lessening. What does the road ahead look like?
Gary, the residents are going to have the option in November of voting on a 1-cent charter county and regional transportation system surtax, which is basically a 1% increase in sales tax. And this is going to go 50% for transportation and 50% for transit. And the difference between transit and transit are the buses, the cabs, is the actual moving people around. Transportation deal with the roads, the bridges, the retention, the canals that we go over and navigate. They're basically the infrastructure. So there's the distinction. It's going to be a very important vote. I'm not sure how it'll come out, but it's something that we as the county commission feel like it's important enough that the entire citizens need to vote on, and not just the 5 of us. So that's why we put it on the ballot.
Thank you. The Polk County Indigent Healthcare program is scoring high marks for its compassion, outreach, and efficiency. Easy for me to say, in services. What does the future hold for this important medical service?
The half-cent sales tax for Indigent Healthcare is going to sunset in 2019, and this is going to require approval by the voters to continue. It's something that they put on themselves. They felt like taking care of our indigent healthcare needs was important enough that the entire citizenship should participate in that. So I think it was very forward-thinking. If the revenue sunsets, if this referendum is not extended, then funding source is going to be needed to cover the mandated costs at a minimum.
Yes, sir. There are numerous services that the Board of County Commissioners that you do that go to the very heart of protecting our citizens and our businesses,
right,
like fire rescue. What is the status of this critical service?
Where we are, as the county continues to grow and as the economy improves, so does the need for expanded fire rescue ambulance service. The fire rescue fund will be out of balance without a rate increase or service level reduction by the fiscal year 2015-16, and that's one of those areas that I mentioned earlier that Mr. Marlowe with Analytica is going to be talking to us about, is what level of service do we provide, and some of the pressure that's being applied to us is the insurance ratings, ISO, in the outlying areas are changing. So areas that were moderately rated are now poorly rated for no fault of their own. No one moved anything. It's just they changed the rating, and so some folks' insurance is going from $800-900 a year to $2,000-2,500, which is just unfathomable to some folks.
It's summertime and the hurricane season. It's a time when a lot of folks in Polk County are thinking about flooding conditions and the conditions of our many beautiful lakes and streams and rivers. Polk County has established a countywide stormwater municipal service taxing unit to address water quality. Can you please explain how this came about, Commissioner?
How the National Pollution Discharge Elimination System Permit, or NPDES, as it's much easier
as we
to say.
know it.
That's right. This was again mandated from the federal government. They said, you will do this, but we're not going to give you any money to do what we tell you to do. So this is one of those unfunded mandates that we're trying to figure out how to fix. Outside estimates, early estimates have been as high as $95 million. We obviously don't have $95 million to, wave a wand and fix everything. So we, in the 2013-2014 budget, we approved a $0.1 million for a stormwater technical review committee, and this group is appointed by the 5 of us commissioners with scientific backgrounds, and they will look at the science of how to clean up our water bodies and streams. Some of it is don't blow your lawn clippings into the road because they drain into the system, and the phosphates and nutrients that are on your grass go into the water and it throws stuff out of whack. Street sweeping is part of what we're doing. So there's a comprehensive plan, but it's being dictated by science and not politics.
The budget, as we said today, is very complex, very deep. A lot of eyes see it. But then there's also another set of eyes that looks at the budget called the Efficiency Commission. What's the Efficiency Commission's role?
The Efficiency Commission is set up by the county charter that every, I think, 10 years, we're supposed to, 8 or 10 years, we are to have an efficiency committee that looks at how we run government and look at the details of it and what we do well and what we don't. There are certain mandated people who are appointed to this committee. There are certain appointments that are at large that we have the ability to do. And so they look at everything from fleet maintenance to fleet management to where we buy gas to operations of everything. They make a recommendation to the county commission. We've got a draft of that, or we got that report, I think in February or March. Richard Weiss, who was our county comptroller and clerk for 28 years,
yes, sir.
He headed it up. So it was a fantastic panel. They made a number of recommendations, and now it's in the county manager's hands for him to bring forward whatever actions he deems necessary to take to address some of those things.
And of course, the public is afforded its input into the budget. When does that happen this year? When are the public hearings?
Well, we're coming up on them. We have 2 public hearings. The first is going to be September 8th in Bartow in our boardroom, and the second hearing, which is when we will pass it, will be September 15th. That's also in Bartow. The meetings will start at 6 p.m. Each member of the public will be afforded 3 minutes to voice their opinion. So I encourage you to come down and participate and pay attention, because like we said, there's $1.264 billion that we're dealing with here.
Well, thank you very much, Commissioner, for dissecting the county's budget process for us today. It's been very informative. This is Haji DeGennaro urging our viewers to please stay tuned, where we'll soon hear from Commissioner Ed Smith, who will be talking about the new state veterans nursing home that hopefully will come to Polk County one day. Thanks.
Thanks, Bandit.
How many people are retiring online at socialsecurity.gov? Take one full-size baseball stadium. Fill it with people. Now, another stadium. More people. Would you believe 165 stadiums? That's over 7 million people. That's how many have retired online, the easy way, at socialsecurity.gov. Hear them cheering? I think it's a home run. Retire online, the easy way, at socialsecurity.gov.
Welcome back to the Commissioner's Report, where we're now joined by Commissioner Ed Smith. Welcome to the show, Commissioner.
Well, thank you, Mr. DeGennaro. It's a real privilege and an honor to be here. These little bits here are fun to do. I enjoy it, and I hope it's very informative to the public. So it's a great thing for we're doing here, I think.
Well, thank you, Commissioner. Today we're going to be covering a topic that's very near to your heart, assistance to our military veterans. Before we delve into that topic, could you please tell us about your own military service and briefly tell us how that impacted your life?
Well, yeah, you know, I think in a lot of ways I was very fortunate with my Navy career. I consider that I spent 12 years as, quote, enlisted. That means white hat. I spent about 10 years as a Chief Petty Officer. And about 10 years, as a matter of fact, as a commissioned officer. So I got to see all three areas. As you can well tell there, most of my time was spent in what I consider middle management. And that's where you learn the real lessons. You know, you're learning to take orders from above and you're learning to give orders below. But having been down there, you understand how those orders need to go down and to be concerned about your people. And of course that was one of the things that was a highlight of my career. Was I always made an effort to really be concerned about the welfare of the people working for me. I had a lot of sea duty. As a matter of fact, I had 14 years at sea on 6 different ships. 3 of those were aircraft carriers, but I had other types as well. I had a destroyer and I had an amphibious ship and I had a cruiser. So I saw a lot of the Navy, and I saw a lot of the world as well. So it was great. I really enjoyed my career in the Navy. I just have to tell you that.
Well, thank you, Commissioner, for that background. As you're aware, Commissioner, the Florida Department of Veterans Affairs operates 6 veterans nursing homes throughout our state. And in 2013, the Florida legislature provided funding for a 7th state veterans nursing home, and they would ultimately like to operate 10 nursing homes throughout our state for our veterans. The state recently requested that communities bid for this 7th home, and we responded with 2 potential sites. First off, what is the tangible and intangible value of locating a state veterans nursing home in our community?
Well, Mr. DeGennaro, the thing about it is, you know, we have got approximately 630,000 people in Polk County. About 10% of those people are veterans.
Yes, sir.
So I think this is an epicenter right here. I think as Commissioner of Agriculture Putnam has said, Polk County is in the middle of everything. The population center of the state of Florida is located just to the west of Lake Wales. The population center of Polk County is located just about a mile or 2 to the west of Auburndale. So, you know, we look at the 10-year censuses, and you can see the tract to the southeast of the population center of Florida. Beginning in 1900, believe it or not, it was in Tallahassee, and has constantly moved down to the southwest till now, as I said, it's just to the west of Lake Wales. So this is the obvious place that we need one of these centers. I'll have to tell you this, within a 100-mile radius of Polk County, there are more than 9 million people residing. And this is the largest population base in the southeast. Not only does it make good sense to locate a state veterans home here because of our outstanding logistics, it would be a tremendous honor to assist and to serve the medical needs of veterans in our community. There are some 663,591, to be exact, veterans living within a 75-mile radius of Lake Alfred. And this is one of the statistics that the Site Selection Committee asked us to report and have available for them. Of this substantial total, about half, 321,000 of those veterans, are 65 years of age or older. The State Veterans Home represents a construction project for a new state-of-the-art 120-bed nursing home facility, which will employ 190 people and will have an annual operating budget of more than $7 million.
That's substantial. You know, with so much at stake, Commissioner, one can imagine that numerous communities bid on this project.
Well, absolutely they did. As a matter of fact, there were 9 potential sites that had bid and met the qualifications and were visited by the Site Selection Committee. These were in Polk County, St. Lucie, Putnam, Marion, Collier, and Manatee counties. And 2 of the counties, which were Collier and Polk, by the way, actually nominated 2 possible sites.
Okay, and what were some of the elements that the State Site Selection Committee looked at during their visits?
Well, as I said, they looked at a strong veterans population. They asked that the properties being offered up would be donated to the state for the building. They were looking for nearby medical facilities and for trained medical professionals. They were looking for transportation in the area. They were looking for housing for the staff members. They were looking for a minimum of 20 acres, as a matter of fact. I might add to that Polk County actually offered them 47 acres, I believe.
More than double.
More than double that, which would allow for expansion. I don't think any other site offered that much property, and I think the selection committee was very impressed by that. They were looking for the availability of infrastructure. We had that and offered it. So I think we were obviously in the Polk County site of Lake Alfred were a very, very strong contender in this issue.
You know, and after the site visits and the scoring, who makes the final decision on where this new state veterans nursing home will be located?
Well, the way the process works, now that I completely understand it, the site selection committee does their score sheets, and they all have a standard score sheet, and they determine the ranking.
Yes, sir.
1 through whatever the list was. This will then be presented, their results will be presented to the executive director of the Florida Department of Veterans. I think's the name of it, something like that. And he will review it for consistency and for completeness and all this. And then we'll present it to the final selection, and the final selection will be made by the governor and the cabinet. Okay. And once that is done, then they will move forward with the construction.
How did our 2 sites stack up against the state competition?
Well, the Lake Alfred site came in number 5.
Yes, sir.
As a matter of fact, we're calling it de facto number 4 because Collier County had both of their sites are above us. But the way it shook out is number 1 site was in St. Lucie County, number 2 was Marion County, then the 2 sites in Collier County, and then Polk County. So I guess we could say that we are number 4.
Okay.
So the Bartow site, or I guess we can call it the Route 60 site, or whatever we want to call it, was probably a couple down. I don't remember exactly where they were, but I think we had an excellent opportunity with the Lake Alfred site.
You said that the Lake Alfred site was 46, 47 acres. What were some of the other prominent features of our top-ranked site?
Well, as I said, a central location, a very strong veterans population. As a matter of fact, I might add this too, of the 60,000 veterans that we have in Polk County, approximately 6,000 of those are Purple Heart recipients. And I think they were very impressed by that too. The site is very high and very dry. It'll never have any flooding problems. It's actually a beautiful site, a beautiful piece of property. We have proximity of EMS right there in Lake Alfred. Of course, we've got Lakeland Medical Center, we've got Winter Haven Hospital, we've got Haines City Hospital within very short drives. So their medical facilities are there. I think all in all, you know, we've got easy access to Interstate 4. The other thing I think is very strong is the educational opportunities in Polk County, the entertainment opportunities. You know, I can recall just a kind of a sidelight that our pastor said one Sunday as he looked out over in the summertime a diminishing congregation and said, you know, I understand very well that if you can't find something to do on the weekends in Polk County, you need to talk to somebody. So there's tons of things for people to do. We have professional football, we have professional basketball, we have professional baseball, we have professional ice hockey, and these are all approximately an hour or less drive away. We've got theme parks that are the greatest in the world, I'm sure. We now have, of course, we have Legoland right here at our doorsteps. You know, as I said, Polk County has everything, and we're in the middle of everything. It's an obvious site to put it. I might also add another issue is that 85% of Florida's population lives within 20 miles of the coast. So we need a veterans nursing center in the middle of the state. If you look, every one of them so far has been on the coast. We need to bring it here.
Okay, so St. Lucie County ranked number 1 and could be considered, Commissioner, the preferred site for this round. The good news is that the state wants to build additional nursing homes. What's our next move?
Well, I understand, we did not know whether the original idea was that we heard was that they would start at number 1 from the established list from this site visit and just move down the list, 1, 2, 3, 4. In which case we would still get one because Collier County is number 3 and number 4. Obviously they're not going to get 2. So we would get number 4 and we would be in line to have one. Now I understand the game plan has changed, and what's going to happen now is beginning in September of this year, we're going to start afresh. There will be a new site selection committee picked. They will ask for inputs again and nominations. That committee will go out and they will evaluate again, and they will establish another list, and this is for home number 2. And they will do it again for 3 and again for number 4, or 8, 9, and 10 if you want to consider it that way. So I think that's the process, and as I said, I think that we're on top of this thing, and I fully expect that we'll get the next round.
You would think with our huge veterans population, our fantastic central location, that we'll eventually be awarded one of these nursing homes.
I think it's inevitable.
Okay.
It's inevitable. We absolutely will get one. Now, you know, of course, as far as we're all concerned, the sooner the better, but surely we will get one.
And we appreciate your passion and for veterans, and we appreciate your keen interest in locating this would be a community and economic development driver.
Well, absolutely.
In Lake Alfred and Polk County.
Absolutely. I'm not really sure about this number. I think there were 191 jobs that are going to be provided, and so that's really going to be a big boost, certainly to the city of Lake Alfred and to Polk County. You know, I think we ought to understand here that we're not just talking about Lake Alfred, we're talking about Polk County. And as I heard one of our famous legislators say, and I won't call his name, that, you know, a rising tide floats all boats, which I thought was a very apt naval term. But you know, if it helps one part of the county, it helps the whole county, and that's what we're looking at.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Smith, for your past military service to our country and for your continued service as one of our county commissioners. This is your host, Jim DeGennaro, reminding you to tune in next month, where we'll hear from 2 more community leaders on projects that are important to Polk County's future. Until then, please take care and enjoy this beautiful community we call home.